Welcome to the Imagine Crafts channel. This is Annie Collins. Today we'll be creating this lovely friendship card. Let's go over the products I used. I used Creative Medium and Iridescent. I'm using the green and the pink. And the Creative Medium Iridescent, let's see if my camera will focus and show you here. I don't know if it shows you as much here as it does in the pink one. It gives you it's really light and it gives you a nice shimmer of iridescence with that light hint of green and or pink, or the color you're using. So you can see a little bit better here in the pink. I'm also going to be bringing in the Creative Medium in metallic gold, and we're just going to use a little hint of that within our card. Now, like I said, this is a very light color, and I wanted to pump up that saturation of color of pink and green. So I'm going to bring in my Memento inks in Rosebud, Bamboo Leaves, and Pear Tart to, bump up, that color. So I'm bringing in this stencil from my stash. And it's a beautiful flower here, and I'm just going to use, like I said, the metallic gold in the center of our flower. So I also have this foil cardstock, and it's gold, and I'm just going to pull out I die cut the sentiment from the center, just setting it to the side so I don't lose any of my pieces, and I cut my card panel that are going to be our focal point panel about a quarter of an inch smaller. I have a 110-pound card base. I'm going to use our point glue and our Tart tape, and I also brought in some gems for embellishment. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. First I'm going to center my stencil onto my card panel, and this card panel is 110 pound as well, and I am going to just use a little washi tape to hold it down. I'm moving up because I want to show you I'm working on my Imagine Crafts silicone craft mat. And we're going to start by dyeing our green iridescent creative medium. I'm going to mix the two greens together. I'm just going to pull out a little bit of my creative medium. Now my green creative medium is a little drier, so it's a little thicker to work with. It should be a little more smoother. I could have, thinking about it now, I could have spritzed it with a little water and I would have loosened it up a bit, but I didn't then. I also wanted to keep that thickness to add a little bit different texture to our stem and leaves. And I'm applying it fairly thick. I mean, not super thick that it took very long to dry, but enough that left enough of a texture when I removed the stencil. So not smooth. Alright, so I got my stem and leaves on here. And again, if you don't like this color, whatever was left of the creative medium, you could have just added a little more green to it of ink and then add another layer, or you can easily squish your ink pad onto your craft mat and then add a little water, use a paintbrush and just dab a little more green in spots. Alright, so this is what normally the creative medium is. See how smooth and creamy it is? But my green, like I said, is a little more dry. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to bring up that color and using the Memento Dewdrop ink in Rosebud to bump up that pink color here. Wow, can I say bump up one more time? So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm not applying it smoothly. I want to add texture, so I'm making sure there's like some thicker parts, some thinner parts. You look at flowers, they're not smooth, and there's texture to them. So that's what I wanted to create here on our card. So I'm going to clean up the extra, and normally if I'm not on camera, I take any extra medium that I may have and I just smear it onto another card panel just to have another background. Alright, so I use the metallic now, the gold in our center, and I'm going to peel away our stencil. And now you can heat set this if you would like. You bring in your tool, just not overheat it because you don't want it to get bumpy and yucky and warpy paper too much, but you could just let it sit and dry, and that's what I did. I did this panel a little earlier, so now you can see how rich those colors are once it's set, and you can see the iridescence a little bit more. So I'm going to trim down this panel just a little bit more so that it comes down to 4 by 5.5. No, by 5 1/4. I'm sorry, 4 by 5 1/4, so that we have a nice 1/4 inch all around our matte layer. So I'm going to use our Tart tape on the back of our panel here. I let this dry earlier, so it's a little bit warped but very minimal, but the Tart tape takes care of that completely. So I'm removing now our backing And I'm doing the partial removal of the backing of the tape, so it's easier for me to center the panel onto my metallic paper here, and then I can remove the extra to secure it there. So I'm going to repeat this process on the back of this panel that we have here, and it's the 2 layers. So I'm going to go ahead and put Tart tape all the way around and a piece in the center, remove the backing from the center, and then partial of the perimeter tape. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and layer this and adhere it to my card base. Again, that's a 110-pound card base. And then I'm going to bring in our sentiment, which I die cut from the center of that gold craft foiled paper. And that's a 65-pound weight. Okay, so now I'm just going to pop out everything. I don't want to lose my eye, so I left it in the eye, the little dot to the eye. I left that in the die so that I don't lose it. And I'm going to use my on-point glue and fine detailed tweezers to place my sentiment here. And then I'm trying to see if my camera would focus, and it wouldn't. To show you, I just put tiny little dots. You don't want a lot because you don't need a lot. It's a small sentiment, and a little bit of that on-point glue goes a long way, and it does a great job. Now, if it does ooze out a little bit, don't worry, it dries clear, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put my rest of my sentiment on here, which is the friend, putting the dot on my eye, and then I'm just going to put an acrylic block on there just to hold it, because we are adhering it over creative medium, so it's a little bit textured. It needs a minute to just grab hold. Bringing in our gems, and I'm going to put a little bit of the on-point glue throughout the card, and then I'll just place my gems on top. Correcting here because I wanted to put the pink closest to the sentiment, so I moved it around a bit. Then I realized, oh, yep, I want to put one more over here, put the last one in there, and we're all set. And our card is complete. Here's a bit of a close-up, and there is everything. You see that beautiful shimmer and shine. Super easy to do. You can mass produce these easily. So again, we used the creative medium in iridescent in green and pink, creative medium in metallic gold, Memento dewdrops in red rosebud, bamboo leaves, and pear tart, our on-point glue and Tart tape. But I will have everything listed in the description box below in case you missed anything I said, because I know this went kind of quick. But I'd like to thank you for being here, and I hope you found some inspiration.